a very good a very good Friday morning. Great introduction um, to everybody. This is Kenneth Gruenfelder on the GSMC Baseball Podcast, brought to you by the GSMC Sports Network. So once again, I'm your host Kenneth. Jumped the gun there. I don't know why I had Monday on my mind. But a very good Friday morning to everybody out there. So just another reminder to tip or donate to the program and get your comments recognized. Go to streamelements.com/gsmcsportsnetwork./tip. So this really helps the show. And for bonus materials that are not on this broadcast, make sure to go to patreon.com and search up GSMC Sports Network and sign up. Everything is also in the description of the video. And yeah, so today's Friday, not Monday. I don't know why that happened, but there's always something with my show that, there's things that go on. But anyways, so we got a great show for you guys. Another week in the books. Today we're going to go through what we normally do. The latest news and headlines we'll start off with. Then in the second segment, one of the bigger headlines is the Red Sox letting go of their General Manager Chaim Bloom. So they're in search of a new GM. So I'll talk about that because that's a big topic, and I know a lot of Red Sox fans are definitely very happy today. Then in the third segment, we'll recap all the games from last night, go over the current standings, and then in the final segment, I'll look at some of the big games, the big series that are coming up this weekend. And some of them actually already started, such as the Rays and the Orioles. So, so that's pretty much a rundown of the show. And I thought we were going to have some background noise today. Because there was some work being done outside of my house. There's always stuff going on, but we're ready to go. So let's get right into it with the latest news and headlines around the league. So obviously, Chaim Bloom, that's a big topic, but I'm going to save that for the next segment. So one of the things that I saw was the fact that that we've seen. There's been more top 100 prospects in the big leagues than there's ever been before, like at this particular moment, which I thought was very interesting. Some of these guys started up in the majors, almost immediately, like Anthony Volpe, for example. I think it was there was 30-something prospects that were brought up. I'm trying to look for it in the article right now, but that's huge, that the game is moving. I talked about it last week, with the youth movement in New York City. It's all around baseball right now. And some of these guys have made an impact, and they're going to make an impact on teams that are going to make the playoffs, which is great. So, so 55, I think it says 55 top 100 prospects have played in the majors this year, and some debuted prior to 2023. So that's it right there. So 38 players from the preseason top 100 prospects list have made their big league debuts this season. So that's a big deal. But like I said, it's a youth movement. It's all around baseball, and it's kind of sad when you see a lot of the guys that you've watched growing up go off and like Miguel Cabrera, for example. He's going to be retiring after this season. Last year we saw Pujols and Yadier Molina retire. So, baseball, we're seeing a lot of young players. You look at the Orioles, they got a lot of young players, and they're going to be making the playoffs. So, it's really exciting, and, it's game's moving in a different direction now with a lot of these young players. So, so I thought that was something very interesting. Another thing, Yankees rookie Jason Dominguez is going to have Tommy John surgery, so he has a 9 to 10 month timetable for his return. So that's a big blow, especially because of how he started off. He was playing really well for the Yankees, and this just really was a gut punch. And when he was scratched from the lineup, you didn't really think it was that big of a deal. And UCL injury, and he's going to be out. He's going to be getting Tommy John. Now, we've seen Bryce Harper come back from this injury, and Jason Dominguez is a lot younger than him. He's even younger than me. So he should hopefully be able to rebound from this injury, but it's going to impact what the Yankees decide to do this offseason. They definitely need some outfielders. They need a outfielder. They need left-handed bats. They need some left-handed bats. That's really what they need. And Jason Dominguez was going to provide that. And unfortunately now, we're not going to see him until, late. Like at some point during the season, I guess maybe more towards the All-Star break, I would imagine. So, yeah, it's not what you want to see. It's a terrible thing that had to happen, and hopefully he's able to come back and produce, because the Yankees need it. The Yankees really need it. So yeah, but also, so the Rays closed the gap on the Orioles last night, so they're a game back, and I'll go into more detail with that. But it's a big series, and that's one of the big series that I'm going to highlight in the final segment. This is a 4-game set. So we got 3 more games after this, and the Rays took the first game, and that's huge. And, between saying the Orioles are going to win the division and the Rangers maybe not making the playoffs, that hasn't really looked good for me, because the Rangers have been playing really good baseball. They swept the Blue Jays last night. They won the final game. And the Rays beat the Orioles last night. So now they're 1 game back. So, yeah, things aren't really... this is what I'm talking about with making predictions. They just don't seem to go your way. But yeah, that's another headline as well. And like I said before, obviously the Chaim Bloom topic is going to be something huge, which I'm really looking forward to get into that. But the other thing is this. So the Blue Jays, I guess really a headline for this is the Blue Jays got swept. So now they're on the outside looking in. They just got swept in 4 games by the Rangers. So what does that mean? Does that mean this team is not going to make the playoffs? I mean, right now, they are on the outside looking in. But this would be just a huge disappointment if this team doesn't make the playoffs. And it's going to be tough, because you have the Mariners. The Rangers are playing really well. You don't really see the Astros. I think the Astros are winning their division. The Rays, obviously, they're going to be a lock to make the playoffs. So it's not looking good right now for the Blue Jays. But yeah. So also some injury updates. So obviously Max Scherzer, we already talked about him from yesterday, or the last couple days. So he's going to be shut down for the rest of the regular season. Actually, Ryan Mountcastle, for the Orioles, he exited Wednesday's series finale versus the Cardinals with left shoulder discomfort. It says he hurt his left shoulder on a swing, and he said something popped. So he had some imaging done, so I don't know if there's any more updates on that. Felix Bautista, the closer for the Orioles, again, still says he could return to the bullpen this season, and he's been playing catch on flat ground in recent days. So again, I mean, that would be huge if they can get him back. We talked about Alcantara. He had a UCL sprain, so he's on the 15-day injured list. And then Jazz Chisholm, he left Wednesday's game against the Brewers with right knee discomfort. Manny Machado, Bogarts, Yu Darvish, and Musgrove, they all are all dealing with injuries. I mean, the Padres, we'll get to it, but I mean, this season's been a disaster for them. So it says Machado's been hampered by a tennis elbow for most of the past month, and he might need off-season surgery. So that's not what you want to hear. Bogarts fouled the ball off his ankle. So it led to some bruising and lingering tightness in his calf. And calf injuries are not... I mean, even watching football, too, if you got a calf injury, it's not good. I mean, you see that Aaron Rodgers had a calf injury, and he had one in training camp, and a lot of people think that kind of led to his Achilles injury. And Joe Burrow as well dealt with a calf injury. And then, yeah, it's just not something you want. And then Yu Darvish hasn't pitched since August 25th. He's been shut down for the rest of the season. Bone spur in his elbow. And then Joe Musgrove, he's got a right shoulder capsule inflammation. So, and he hasn't pitched since July 28th. I didn't even realize that. So, yeah, it's not what you want. Angels, Ohtani keeps missing games with oblique tightness. Ustakis, sore left wrist. Moniak, he's got back tightness. The Angels, again, that's another team too. It's just it's bad. But yeah, there's actually a lot of injuries. I didn't even realize this. So Yelich has been missing games, lower back tightness. Yeah, there's a lot of injuries. But for some of these teams, like the Brewers, like you need Yelich because you got to keep pace and make sure you win the division. You don't want to finish as a wild card team. But right now, the Brewers are sitting in a good spot. They've kind of built up a little bit of a lead over the Cubs. So as of right now, it's not that big of a deal. Actually, let's look. Did he play last night? I mean, these injuries go back to earlier in the week, and yeah, he's still out. So yeah, let's hope that he gets back because he's been having a good year. He's been having a season that you would expect out of a guy like Yelich. So hopefully he gets back soon because the Brewers are going to need him because I've talked about this. They've struggled in the playoffs, especially offensively. So hopefully he gets back soon. And also another quick thing. So 50 years ago, the great Roberto Clemente made the Hall of Fame. So that's a famous day in history for baseball as well. So this is when they honor him across baseball. So yeah, that's huge, and I that's a guy that you could definitely that I've definitely used on Immaculate Grid plenty of times. So yeah, that's just something to throw in there as well. It's stuff like that you appreciate baseball because baseball really appreciates their history, and honoring guys like Roberto Clemente and Jackie Robinson. That's what you really got to appreciate. What baseball does, honoring their history. So that's something else to just throw in there as well for headlines. But yeah, I mean, that's pretty much all the headlines. Not really, some stuff to touch upon. But yeah, so really the show is all going to be about, obviously, the Chaim Bloom stuff I wanted to touch upon more in the second segment because there's a lot to really unravel there. And also going through the scores and standings as we usually do, and then the upcoming series as well, because there's some big ones. There's some big ones. A lot of them have playoff implications. So yeah, that's basically what the show is going to be about today. And yeah, also I literally right before the show I had to make sure my dog was out of here. I keep talking about my dog. And I just feel bad like kicking her out, but I just if she starts acting like a maniac in here while I'm doing the show, it's gonna be a disaster. But yeah, so and we're and this is pretty much the end of week 2 of running the GSMC baseball podcast. So another week down. And we're getting another week closer to the postseason and all of that. So that's going to be very exciting. And we'll see. It's things are still crazy. There are a few spots that have been determined. Braves winning their division. Dodgers are about to. But wild cards are still up for grabs. And it's just going to be complete mayhem towards the end of the year. And that's what's going to make it exciting, So, yeah, with that now, we are going to take our first break of the show. And then when we come back, we are going to dive into the Chaim Bloom situation and go through some of the trades that he's made over the years, or a lot of the moves that he's made, and why this is good move for the Red Sox and why this this happens. So stick around, and we will be right back here on the GSMC Baseball Podcast. All right, and we are back here on the GSMC Baseball Podcast. And for the second segment of today's show, we are going to talk about the Red Sox parting ways with General Manager Chaim Bloom. So, this is definitely something that I know a lot of Red Sox fans are very happy about because this is a guy that traded Mookie Betts, and he's made a lot of moves over the years that definitely have been head scratchers, and it's a good day to be a Red Sox fan because this needed to happen. And it's funny because I'm a Yankee fan and I'm talking about this, but I mean, even for me, watching what he's done over the year, I mean, trading Mookie Betts really didn't make any sense. It just letting a lot of their core guys go. It really just didn't make any sense. But you hear it all across, baseball. It's stop trying to act like the Rays and start acting like the Boston Red Sox, and it's true because the Red Sox got money. They got to go out and spend. Why are we not trying to prioritize keeping our guys that have helped us, be competitive and be really good teams? But so they fired him after 4 seasons, and he joined in 2019 following the firing of Dave Dombrowski, who used to be the general manager of the Tigers. So they lasted the same amount of years, 4 years. But yeah, he so one of the things is he had a patient approach in team building and rebuilding the farm system. That's actually one of the things that was kind of a positive thing, is that the farm system is good right now. So that's at least what the owner was saying. But yeah, I mean, he traded Mookie Betts to the Dodgers, and that just still, I mean, it's such a head scratcher. And Mookie Betts made his return to Fenway this year, and you could tell he still wants to be in Boston, but that wasn't the case. They let him go, and that's just one of those things that you can't really go back on. But yeah, it's a big what if. But yeah, they during his tenure though, they've had some last place finishes, and they did have only one ALCS appearance during his time as general manager, and that was back in 2021. But yeah, they really think that the farm system's in good hands. But yeah, I mean, it's just not something that you want, And I think the Red Sox, they made the right move by doing this. So and the big thing is they want to win, and I think this patient approach, as it said it, because it was an ESPN article that I was looking at, came out. Jeff Passan put that out. The Red Sox, they're tired of this. Let's build up and be a contender. But that way, it's like we want to get better now. So, but yeah. So on overthemonster.com, it lists basically pretty much every move that Chaim Bloom has made as general manager for the Red Sox. So we're going to go through it. So the first thing is the waiver claims and Rule 5 picks that had an impact. So these are players that actually, impacted the team and did something for the Red Sox. So you had Christian Arroyo, Garrett Whitlock, which is somebody that the Yankees had, and Brian Cashman decided to go keep Brooks Kriske, or protect Brooks Kriske instead of Garrett Whitlock, and it didn't turn out the right way. And then John Schreiber, I think that's how you pronounce it. So those are players that actually have done good things for the Red Sox. Then There are a couple players here that had little impact. So we have Chris Mazza, Jonathan Arus, Philip Valdez, Jalen Davis, and Travis Shaw. And Travis Shaw was on the Red Sox. He was with them twice. Because I remember he was on the Brewers. But yeah, so he really didn't do anything. So these are trades that actually did work out in his favor. So Brandon Workman and Heath Hembry to the Phillies for Nick Pivetta and Connor Seabold. So Nick Pavetta's kind of been one of the starters in the Red Sox rotation. So that's just one trade. Also, them getting Ottavino from the Yankees, that was a trade that worked out for them. Also getting Kyle Schwarber, that was a good trade because Schwarber was playing really well for the Red Sox. I mean, they had him playing first base, but I honestly forgot he was on the Red Sox because that's just how short it was. And honestly, it's good that I kind of blocked that out of my mind because he hit that moonshot off of Garrett Cole in the wild card game. So that was a trade that definitely worked out. So they also a player to be named later or cash to Cincinnati for Tommy Pham. I forgot Tommy Pham was even on the Red Sox. They also got Reese McGuire from the White Sox. They traded Jake Diekman, a relief pitcher. Jay Groom to San Diego for Eric Hosmer, Corey Rozier, Max Ferguson, and $44 million in cash. I mean, Hosmer was I do remember that because this was last year because Hosmer was supposed to go to the Nationals, and he didn't want to do that. He'd rather go to a team that was competing. So they ended up letting him go to the Red Sox, and they traded Luke Voit, San Diego, to the Nationals, which I kind of felt bad for Luke Voit, but yeah. And then these are the trades that really didn't move the needle or anything. That's how the article puts it. So they traded Mitch Moreland to San Diego for Jason Rosario and Hudson Potts. A lot of these players I really don't even know. Kevin Pillar to Colorado for Jacob Wallace. Yohan Ibar to Colorado for Christian Koss. Chris Mazza and Jeffrey Springs to Tampa Bay for Ronaldo Hernandez and Nick Sogard. Yeah, I mean, I don't even. Well, they also got Hansel Robles in one of these trades. They traded Michael Chavis to Pittsburgh for Austin Davis. I'm pretty sure Austin Davis was this is I think a different Austin Davis, but I'm pretty sure Austin Davis played in the NFL. But yeah, none of these trades, they definitely didn't make an impact or anything because I honestly couldn't tell you anything that these players did. Mitch Moreland obviously was part of the World Series team, and he had that 3-run shot in, I think it was game 4? I think it was game 4 of the World Series against the Dodgers, and then that led to the comeback, and they won that, and then they beat the Dodgers in 5 games to close out that World Series. So, yeah, and then now these are the trades that worked out terribly. So I have them on the screen here. So again, this is a courtesy of OverTheMonster.com. So this is like the exact trade when the Red Sox traded Mookie Betts. So it was Mookie Betts and David Price to the Dodgers for Alex Verdugo, who actually has been a productive player for the Red Sox, but obviously not, Mookie Betts. And then they also got Jeter Downs, and I remember he was trendy for a little bit because I'm pretty sure he hit a home run against the Yankees, and there were a lot of jokes like, "Oh, Jeter hit a home run against the Yankees. Look at that." And Connor Wong was the third player in that deal as well. But yeah, not a good deal. Not a good deal. And actually, another thing I forgot to mention in the first segment was the fact that the Yankees and the Red Sox were discussing a trade that they would have swapped Clark Schmidt and Alex Verdugo. And I'm sitting here going, why didn't we do that? We should have did that. I would have did that. Verdugo's a productive player, left-handed bat, would have been one of the better hitters on the team. But yeah, so that was just something that I saw yesterday, which I couldn't believe. So yeah, there's that trade. Then you got the Andrew Benintendi trade to the Royals, and that was for Franchy Cordero, who played on the Yankees this year, Josh Winkowski, Grant Gambrell, Luis De La Rosa, and Freddie Valdez. Yeah, Franchy Cordero, Winkowski. I know. I I don't think I've heard of any of these other guys. So yeah, that was a trade that didn't do anything. This now the third trade. This was a funny trade. So you had Hunter Renfroe, who had a really productive year for the Red Sox. Then they decide to trade him to the Brewers and get Jackie Bradley Jr. back with, these two other players, Alex Binelas and David Hamilton. That trade was another one that was a head scratcher because I think this was from 2021, I believe. So I want to look at Hunter Renfroe's numbers if I can pull them up. He's in the lineup. Yeah, so right now he's on the Reds. Him and Bader got claimed. We've talked about that. And his 2021 numbers, right? I think, yeah, his 2021 numbers. So in 144 games, he hit 31 home runs, 96 RBIs. OPS was 816. And they went and traded for Jackie Bradley Jr. And Jackie Bradley Jr. really wasn't doing that well, but they just decided that's what we're gonna do. It just really didn't make any sense, and yeah, I mean it's just deals like that are the reason why he is out of a job now, and I mean as a Yankee fan, you're obviously gonna be like, well, it's the Red Sox, I want them to not do that good, but I mean at the same time. It just kind of frustrates you because, you can't be letting go of your core guys and making trades like this and getting away with it. But that's a general manager that got held accountable for making bad moves, and now he's out of a job. Because, for the team that I root for, you got a general manager that's been successful over the years, but now it seems like things aren't trending in the right direction. There's got to be some accountability there, and there hasn't. But the Red Sox did, and hopefully they're able to move forward. At least, for their fans' sake, they're able to move forward and get themselves back on track. But yeah, some of the other deals, so these are free agent signings that worked out very well. So yeah, they got Mitch Moreland, Hunter Renfroe, who they traded. Kike Hernandez, he did pretty good for the Red Sox. Jose Iglesias, Rob Refsnyder. This is what this says. Free agent signings that were fine: Kevin Plawecki, Hirokazu Sawamura. I hope I pronounced that right. Michael Wacha, Rich Hill, and Matt Strahm. And then these are signings that did not work out well. Garrett Richards, I remember, he was with them for a little bit. He did not do that well with the Red Sox. Martin Perez, Marwin Gonzalez, Danny Santana, Jake Diekman, Matt Barnes, Jose Peraza. Matt Andriese, I think he was a pitcher that was on the Rays. So those are deals that didn't work out. Right decision to let players walk: Jackie Bradley Jr., Eduardo Rodriguez, but then they ended up, bringing him back. Wrong decision: Ottavino and Schwarber. Yeah, I think the Red Sox definitely should have brought back Schwarber, but for whatever reason they decided not to. But yeah. So the good with Chaim Bloom is they say in here it talks about how he was very effective with claiming players off of waivers or in the Rule 5 draft. But, I mean, you look at the rest of what he's done, it's not good. But, yeah, so Red Sox are in the market for a new general manager. And hopefully, for them, for their fans' sake, better days are ahead for them because there was a lot that went wrong during his tenure as GM. So with that, we are going to take another break, and then when we come back, I am going to discuss the games from yesterday, look at the current standings, and yeah, that will be the third segment. So stick around, and we will be right back here on the GSMC Baseball Podcast. All right, and we are back here on the GSMC Baseball Podcast. And for the third segment of today's show, we're going to recap all the games from yesterday and look at the current standings as we normally do. So, with that, let's get right into it. Red Sox and the Yankees, they finished off their season series yesterday with another doubleheader. And the Red Sox took the first game 5-0. Yankees took the second game 8-5. So right now, both of these teams sit at 74 and 73. So they are tied for last place still. So last place in the AL East is still up for grabs. I don't know what else to say. It's just, it's depressing. It really is depressing that this is what it's come down to. We're getting hyped over trying to beat out the Red Sox for last place and vice versa. That's what this has come to. Last place. But yeah, so both teams are a game over. We'll see what happens, but yeah. Pirates beat the Nationals 2-0. They start a series with the Yankees this weekend. Reds lose a tough game yesterday, 8-2 to the Tigers. So that's a big loss for them. Brewers winning 4-2 despite Christian Yelich not being in the lineup yesterday. That's a big loss for the Marlins. Mets all over the Diamondbacks 11-1. That's another tough loss. Kodai Senga picked up his 11th win. So yeah, Kodai Senga going into next season, you got yourself a starting pitcher. That's going to be, I guess, the ace of your staff. So that's good. I think obviously the Mets still got to go out and shore up the rotation, but that's good for now. Rangers all over the Blue Jays 9-2, and they complete the 4-game sweep of the Blue Jays. That is so bad for the Blue Jays. It really is. Rangers put up a 5 spot in the 8th inning. Yeah, so the Blue Jays dropped down to 80 and 67 on the season. Rangers 82 and 64. But I keep saying, it's really all going to come down to who's hot at the right time. That really is what it's going to come down to. And right now the Rangers are hot, the Blue Jays are not. So, and then the Rays, they picked up the win against the Orioles in the first game of a huge series, and they improved their record to 91 and 57. Orioles are 91 and 55. So, yeah, the Rays, listen, they could pass the Orioles this weekend if they continue to play well and win these games. But yeah, the Rays put up a 3 spot in the 3rd inning. Bradish picked up the loss. Orioles tied the game in the 5th inning, and then the Rays went ahead in the 7th inning. So Ryan O'Hearn hit a home run, got the game started. Brandon Lau had a single. Arozarena tripled. He scored 2 runs. Gunnar Henderson hit his 26th home run of the season, and right now he is front runner to win American League Rookie of the Year. Adam Frazier tied the game with a ground out, and then Luke Raley hit his 19th home run in the season at the top of the 7th, and that's what propelled the Rays to the victory and getting a big win over the Orioles. And then the Twins last night all over the White Sox, winning 10-2. So their magic number continues to go down as they try to wrap up the Central. So now, the updated standings. So, in the AL East right now, the Orioles at 91 and 55 hold a 1-game lead over the Rays. So, and the Rays right now in their last 10 games are 8-2. So they are playing really good baseball right now, and yeah, they could definitely surpass the Orioles if they continue to like I said, play well and get big hits when they need to. Rarely, that was a big home run. So the Orioles, they need to go out and win tonight. And that game actually will be on, I think tonight will be on Apple TV. Yeah. But we'll get into that in the next segment. So right now the Orioles, they sit in first place. Their magic number is 15. So We still got a long way to go. It's going to go down to the last week of the season. The Twins, they picked up a win. Finally, they won, and the Guardians lost. Because I know the last couple of times, I would go over the standings. It would be, the Twins, they lost, and the Guardians lost. So that, nothing happens except the magic number goes down. But now it's down to 8. So the Twins, they're 8 games up. Nothing really else to talk about there. They're going to win the Central. And the AL West is very close. It is right now the Rangers are a half game back of the Astros, and the Mariners are 1.5 games back. So Astros, they got to keep winning. Rangers are right there. Rangers have won 6 in a row. They're playing really good ever since I said I think they're going to be on the outside looking in. So I just think it's funny that that's how that's played out. Braves clinched their division. Brewers right now are 4.5 games up on the Cubs. Cubs right now are 5-5 in their last 10 games. They've lost 2 in a row. And it's crazy what the run differential is between these two teams. So the Brewers are in first place. They got a plus 50, and the Cubs have a plus 93. So, but the Cubs got to start playing better, because right now that deficit is getting bigger and bigger, and they got to make up some ground here. They're running out of time. So, but yeah, that's the Central. Then you got the West. Dodgers, magic number's 4. They will get that in the coming days. So then you move on to the wild card. And right now it's the Rays, the Rangers, and the Mariners. And the Blue Jays sit a game and a half out of that third wild card spot. So they got 15 games before they're eliminated, between teams winning and them losing. So there's still time for them, but they've lost 4 in a row, which is rough, and especially at home too. They got swept at home. They got 4 games at home. And I kept saying, they're going to win a game. Nope, they didn't. And my earpiece just fell out. And the other thing is, I don't even think I really need my earpiece, but it's just to look podcasty, I guess. Oh, I didn't even realize, because Sean is in the chat, a fellow GSMC podcaster. So he's asking, did you see the Blue Jays activated Matt Chapman off of the IL? I did not. But that's huge for them, because they are going to need him, especially with these last couple weeks of the season. And yeah, I still think the playoff push is possible. It's just right now they're not playing a good brand of baseball. You're getting swept at home by the Rangers. Things aren't looking good right now at the moment for them. But anything's possible. Again, it really all depends on who's hot at the right time. So, yeah, we'll just have to wait and see. That's really how I look at it. But, yeah, they sit a game and a half back. You figure they're going to get hot at some point. But we'll just have to wait and see. But, yeah. So, that's the American League. I'm not really going to mention any of the other teams that are still mathematically in it. But, yeah, that's really the important teams. You got the Rays, Rangers, Mariners, and the Blue Jays. So now we go to the National League, where it's just, it's ridiculous. So you got the Phillies and the Cubs, obviously. Then after that, you got the Giants, the Diamondbacks, the Reds, all tied for that third wild card spot. It's just, it's mayhem. It really is. And then you got the Marlins, who are a half game out. So, I really don't even know. I said it was going to be between the Marlins and the Reds, but now you got 2 other teams in the mix with that. You got the Diamondbacks, and now you got the Giants. I thought the Giants were done, but they've been playing better as of late. Right now they hold that spot, so it really is going to be it's really going to be exciting to watch down the stretch how this plays out. Because I don't think I've ever seen this many teams, literally right there for that third spot. And well, I mean, it's only been 2 years with this, but and they did have it, I guess, during COVID, the expanded playoffs, and then they brought it back last year. But yeah, because back in the day, like I think I said in a previous show, it used to just be one wild card. It was one wild card, and then you had the three division winners. Now then you add the wild card game, and now you got the wild card series. So, but yeah, right now the Marlins are the team that's on the outside looking in, because you got the Diamondbacks, Reds, and Giants. They're all tied for that spot, but that spot's still up for grabs. Diamondbacks have lost 3 in a row. So, yeah, I mean, it's just a roller coaster. You got teams that are hot, teams that are not, and then, all of a sudden, I don't even know, but yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun to see how this shakes out. So Kashan also asked another question, but who is the greatest Philadelphia Philly of the past 20 years? That is a tough question to ask, because I mean, I listen, I've only started watching baseball since 2007. There's definitely maybe have been some guys before that, but I mean, I'd probably go with some of the guys that I watched playing. Ryan Howard comes to mind, Chase Utley, Jimmy Rollins, like guys from all those teams. You had Roy Halladay as well, who was a Yankee killer. Him and Cliff Lee were Yankee killers. I mean, they didn't spend the bulk of their career with the Phillies, but those are guys that come to mind from those teams, at least. I could think of those. I mean, those teams were really good. I mean, Roy Halladay and Cliff Lee weren't on the team that won the World Series in 2008, but that core of Ryan Howard, Utley, Jimmy Rollins, Jason Worth, those are some really good. That was a really good team, and it really kind of, because 2011 it looked like that was the year, because they had Roy Halladay and Cliff Lee, and then they lost to the Cardinals, and then after that, the team just fell apart, and they just weren't good anymore. So that team like fell off a cliff, really. No pun intended, Cliff Lee, but yeah, that's a good question. I would say it would be one of those players from that era, at least, unless I'm missing somebody. I'd have to go back, but that's at least who I could think of when you're talking about the Phillies. And now with the Phillies, they got that top spot, and maybe Bryce Harper will be that player if he's holding up a trophy at the end of the year, which it's going to be tough, because you got the Braves, but we're just gonna have to wait and see, as I like to say. But I appreciate the questions. But that's what it's about. It's about the interaction with the listeners. So yeah, it's gonna be a lot of fun with the postseason, and I keep saying that basically on every show. Yeah, Jason Worth was then went to Washington. Remember that. Those national teams were pretty good, but they never got to the World Series with Jason Worth. But then, once Bryce Harper left, then they win the World Series, which it's kind of funny, but also it's like, it's kind of sad on his part. But hey, he got to play in a World Series last year. Phillies came really close. But yeah, Jason Worth was a good player as well, and also another guy. Not that he was one of not that he was the greatest Philly from the last 20 years, but Raul Ibanez. Loved Raul Ibanez, especially the 1 year that he was a Yankee. That he has gone down as one of my favorite Yankees of all time, because of the amount of clutch hits that he had, especially in the postseason as well. Ibanez was very clutch. But yeah, so those are some good questions. So with that, now we are going to take our final break of the show, and then when we come back, I am going to talk about the upcoming series for this weekend, because some of them have a lot of playoff implications to go along with them. So before that, just want to remind you guys to tip or to donate to the program and get your comments recognized. Go to streamelements.com/GSMC Sports Network. or gsmcsportsnetwork./tip. Again, it's on the ticker on at the bottom. Helps the show. For bonus coverage materials that are not on this broadcast, make sure to go to patreon.com and search up GSMC Sports Network. So we're going to take another quick break, our final break, and when we come back, we will talk about the important series coming up for this weekend. So stick around, and we will be right back here on the GSMC Baseball Podcast. All right, and we are back. A very quick break. All I really got to do is just, switch the segments here on the bottom. So we're back here on the GSMC Baseball Podcast, and for the final segment of today's show, we're going to be previewing the upcoming series, and one of the series is already in progress, the Rays and the Orioles. We're going to be previewing them, talking about them, and the playoff implications that go along with that. So there's quite a few of them. So you got the Braves and the Marlins. Obviously, the Braves already got their division wrapped up, so it's not really that important for them. However, it is important for them to get home field advantage. But the Marlins right now, they're trying to get that final wild card spot. And right now they're a half game out, as I talked about in the previous segment. So this series is huge for them. And right now they got Johnny Cueto going tonight, who's 1-4 with a 6.15 ERA. So you kind of cross your fingers and hope the Marlins can pull it out, especially if you're a Marlins fan. So that's a big series right there. The big series, really, I think the biggest series of the weekend, and I think most people would agree with this. There's one that's close, but this one really, because these two teams are fighting for the same division, and that's the Rays and the Orioles. So obviously last night the Rays took Game 1, and right now they were a game back of the Orioles for first place in the division. So that's huge. So right now, Jack Flaherty, Zach Eflin, they're going at it tonight. I mean, I like the Rays again tonight. Zach Eflin's been solid for them, 14-8, 3.53 ERA, and Jack Flaherty, who the Orioles got at the deadline from the Cardinals. So he's 1-2 with a 7.16 ERA. So he really has not been that good for the Orioles. So I think the Rays are going to. So this Orioles got to win tonight, but I'm leaning more towards the Rays to take this win tonight. It's a huge game. So we'll see what happens there. So then tonight, our Blue Jays also trying to get back on the right track. They got Barrios pitching against Bello, playing against the Red Sox. Barrios 10-10, 3.63 ERA. So Blue Jays got to get back to their winning ways, because right now it's not looking good. But yeah, and then the other big series. There's two of them actually. So you got the Cubs and the Diamondbacks. Justin Steele's pitching tonight against I got to be honest, I can't even pronounce his name. Brandon Fad, I think. Is that how you pronounce it? It's spelled Pfaadt. I mean, in this year he's 1-8 with the 6.25 ERA. So this is his first major league season, but hasn't been very good. I don't even know how to pronounce his name. I really have no idea. And like, no offense to him, but it looks like a typo. But that's his name. So right now I'm leaning towards the Cubs to take that. That's not good for the Diamondbacks. They got to get a win though. That is a game they really need to get. Because they've been struggling a little bit. And Cubs, they got to get back to their winning ways, because they got to make up some ground against the Brewers, who are playing against the Nationals. Wade Miley's going tonight for the Brewers. So, they got to keep the Cubs got to win. They got to narrow that gap down, because that last series against the Brewers to end the year is going to be very important. So, but yeah. Then, the other big series is the Dodgers and the Mariners. So you got Miller going tonight, Bobby Miller going tonight for the Dodgers, and then you have George Kirby going for the Mariners. So that's big. That's big for the Blue Jays, because they need the Mariners to lose right now, because that's the team that they're chasing. And the Dodgers is a good team because the Dodgers can definitely give the Mariners problems. But that should be a good series. Yeah, no, there's a lot of series that have playoff implications for this weekend, and it's going to be exciting. I mean to rank the level of importance. I mean to rank the I guess. I mean I don't want to say, well, they're all important, but I guess because like the Rays and the Orioles you'd probably put at the top because they're both fighting for the AL East, and there's a game that separates each of these teams. And then you have, I would say the Cubs and the Diamondbacks would be second, just because the Cubs still can win their division. Diamondbacks are trying to get that third wild card spot. But didn't these teams just play each other? I think they just played each other. Let me see. I feel like that's happened a lot recently. It's like the team literally just plays a team, and then they play them again. Like the Yankees with Detroit. Yeah, they played them they played them last week at home, and the Diamondbacks actually took 2 out of 3. Now this one's in Arizona. But yeah, like Diamondbacks actually have it rough. So they just played the Mets. Then they fly back home, right? Then they I gotta wait. Let me look at their schedule, because they were talking about it. They were talking about it on the radio when I was listening to it, I think the other day. So they played a 4-game set in New York. Then they fly back home. They play the Cubs and the Giants, and then they got to fly back to New York again to play the Yankees. Yeah, so that's a little rough. That's a little rough for them. But yeah, I mean they're kind of struggling a little bit. So yeah, I mean we'll just have to just gotta hope that they start playing better again for their fans, because it's just crazy how one team's playing good, then they start playing bad, then another team. It's just like it's a roller coaster, like I've been saying. But yeah, so I would put that series second. Dodgers and Mariners is probably like the best series of the weekend. Just in terms of like, the stars that you see, because you got the Dodgers and then you got the Mariners with their phenom Julio Rodriguez. So it's that should be a very good series, I think. But I think you probably put that last just because the Dodgers are going to have their division wrapped up, and the Mariners are, they could still win their division technically. Well, I mean, it's still very close. It's still very possible. They could still win their division, but I was talking more so about, their the wild card implications with them. But I think it's just because also, for me, I have the Astros penciled in as winning the division. But that's not. Listen, it's not a sure thing. That might not necessarily happen. But and then I guess the Red Sox and the Blue Jays. Blue Jays need this series bad. You get the Marlins and the Braves. Braves are still playing for home field, like I said. But then you got the other series sprinkled in. I mean, Phillies, Cardinals. Phillies are kind of locked into where they are. You got the Giants and the Rockies. Rockies aren't playing for anything. Tigers and Angels. I mean, the Angels are 1 game better than the Tigers right now. How about that? All right, so let's actually go backtrack. So right now they pretty much have the same record. So now let me see if I could find when they had that doubleheader. It was July 27th. The Angels at that time, they swept it. This was when Ohtani had the 1 hit, shutout, and the 2 home runs. So Angels at that time were 54-49, and the Tigers were 46-57. Right? This is on July 27th. So now you flash forward to now, and both of these teams have pretty much identical records. How crazy is that? But that just goes to show you how far the Angels really fell off. I mean, it's terrible. It really is just, yeah. Because I would have loved to have seen them in the playoffs. I really would have. Ohtani and Trout trying to win a championship together, but it never happened. It's not going to happen because Ohtani's going to probably leave, and Angels might end up trading Trout. So, but yeah. So, with the series Rays Orioles, that's going to be on Apple TV. So I mean, if you have Apple TV, you can tune into that. But otherwise, either listen to it on the radio or find some other way to watch it. That's another thing is the streaming services. Not a huge fan of it. Not really a huge fan of it. Especially and also with football too. It's just becoming too much. But that's just how it is now. Phillies and Cardinals is also on Apple TV. So, but if you have MLB, the MLB at Bat app, the Rangers and the Guardians is the free game to watch for the day. So if you want to watch that, Rangers got to win that game. Yeah, it's streaming service is not really not a big fan in terms of just because, I mean, I'd rather just watch a game on TV. I don't want to have to because if you got something else on that you could just change the channel, you can't do that. You gotta change the source and go to the Fire Stick or whatever you use, and yeah, it's just a pain. But what are you gonna do? So. But yeah, big series this weekend. So yeah, let's go quickly pitching matchups for the rest of the series. I really only just went through the first game. But yeah, so you got Eflin and Flaherty. Then you got Glasnow and Rodriguez. I think I talked about this yesterday. And then you have Littell and Kramer. Then for Red Sox Blue Jays, Bello, Barrios, the two Bs. And then you have Sale and Bassett tomorrow, and then you got Pivetta and Ryu for Sunday. Right now, the Braves and Marlins, at least on MLB, they don't have the probable starters. So Dodgers. So we went over to today's. You got Kershaw and Miller for Saturday, and then you have Gilbert on Sunday. Dodgers don't have a pitcher, and then finally, you got the Cubs and the Diamondbacks, so Steele and Thad for today. Hendricks and Davies on Saturday, tomorrow, and then Wicks and Nelson for Sunday. So that's the Sunday night baseball game. Cubs and Diamondbacks. So yeah, those are the pitching matchups, and I think that's it, right? Is there anybody else? No, those are all those are like the big series to touch upon. So yeah, should be a good weekend of baseball. A lot of playoff implications that go along with that. The standings are definitely going to change from that time. So, but yeah, that's pretty much the show for today. I still got the Patreon to record, so that'll be right after this. So if you are a Patreon supporter, make sure to go check that out once that's posted. But yeah, that's pretty much it for today. So we touched upon a lot. Better days are ahead for Red Sox fans, it seems. Playoff race is heating up as it always does. So yeah, that's basically it. So thank you for tuning in to the GSMC Baseball Podcast. Another great week. Brought to you by the GSMC Sports Network. So as always, please make sure to subscribe and leave a comment, a favorable review. And like I just said, for exclusive content, visit our Patreon, GSMC. Just search up GSMC Sports. And make sure to stay connected with us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok once those are all up and running. So until next time, I'm Kenneth Grunfelder signing off. Have a good weekend. Enjoy the games. Enjoy baseball. Enjoy football. Enjoy everything. And I will talk to you guys on Monday. So take care, and I will see you guys then.